Okay, E equals mc square. What is creation? Well, in science, matter creation is the process inverse to particle annihilation. It is the conversion of massless particles into one or more massive particles. This process is a time reversal of annihilation. Right, so E equals mc square. E equals mc square. So energy and matter are two sides of the same coin. Just because energy has no mass, it does not mean that it is not material. Photons, energy particles from the sun, will warm and burn your skin. Energy is very material. Spirits will not warm your skin. They may give you chills, but will not warm your skin. Energy and matter are two aspects of the same phenomena out of which this universe is made. Energy or matter cannot be created nor destroyed. These can only be transformed or converted, and this happens constantly, as the universe or the creation is not static, but it's dynamic in its very nature and essence. Now, how can you reproduce the Big Bang or creation out of nothing in a lab when matter and energy cannot be created nor destroyed by us? We can only experiment and prove things in terms of conversion of matter, converting it, but not in terms of creation. Also, every lab experiment assumes the presence of a personal intelligence, a scientist, someone who is intentionally planning to do something. Now, this is more likely to prove the creation through a creator, somebody who is intelligent and present there, rather than the Big Bang that does not involve any intelligence. So, E equals mc square. What do we do with this equation? Now, Albert Einstein, he was intrigued when he looked at this big, massive, burning ball called the sun. And he was determined to find out and understand how the sun is continually burning, but it never burns out. And Einstein thought it would be possible to convert matter into energy on subatomic level. And his equation, E equals mc square, led eventually to the discovery of the principle of nuclear fusion, which explains the mechanics of the sun, where insignificant tiny amount of mass, matter or material is converted into gigantic amount of energy through the process of fusion on subatomic level. Now, E equals mc square. E is energy, m is mass, c is constant, or the speed of light, or more correctly, the speed of energy, or massless particles. Now, c, constant, is a very large number. It's the square of the speed of light. Now, the speed of light is 300,000 kilometers per second, but we do it in meters here because that's the proper unit. So we got 300 million meters per second. Now, if you square this, 300 million squared is 9 with 16 zeros behind, I think. So that's a big number. It's a big number. So something massive is happening in this equation, E equals mc square. And the principle is that we can convert the matter on subatomic level into a gigantic amount of energy. Now, an application of this experiment happened on 6th of August 1945 above the city of Hiroshima, where 75,000 people were killed at the peak of the rush hour in the first 7 seconds of the explosion, and about 125,000 more people died in the aftermath. Now, on this day, humankind entered a new stage of history. And the scientists compared this event to the fall in the Garden of Eden, and some of them said Science has sinned, and this knowledge cannot be undone or unlearned. We cannot unknow it now. So, on that morning, on August 6, 1945, the bomb was dropped over Hiroshima, and less than 1 gram of matter turned into energy. Less than 1 gram of matter turned into energy. And it was less than the weight of one raisin in breakfast cereal, but in TNT equivalents, the yield of the bomb was about 12,000 tons. Okay. So, if you want to convert matter to energy on subatomic level, you have a massive gain. The amount of energy you will get will be multiplied with 9 with 16 zeros behind. 9 with 16 zeros behind. But if you want to do the opposite, if you want to convert energy into matter, into mass, the opposite happens. The amount of mass you get will be reduced or divided by 9 with 16 zeros behind. Therefore, if you want to get just a few grams of matter, you have to have an incredible amount of energy to be divided by 9, 0, 0, 0, with 16 zeros behind. Now, nobody on this planet has this amount of energy at their disposal to be able to create just a few grams of matter. Not even create, actually, just convert. So how much matter are we able to make? Now, this is one of the quotes from a few years ago from CERN, big particle accelerator in Europe. Here at CERN, we can produce 50 million antiprotons in each cycle, about once a minute, that allow us to make a few hundred anti-hydrogen atoms. The number could be 10 times higher in particular configurations of the accelerator. This sounds a lot, but expressed in grams, it is a billionth of a gram in a year. If we count on the production CERN has done over the last 10 years, about 1 billionth of a gram, it has cost a few hundred million Swiss francs. This is some expensive alchemy, isn't it? So, 1 billionth of a gram in 10 years. Okay, in other words, at this rate, it would take us, well, let's take the maximum configuration, 10 times higher. At this rate, it would take us 10 billion years to create only 1 gram of matter. 10 billion years at maximum capacity to create only 1 gram of matter. Now, how much more energy would we need to create 1 kilogram of matter, or the mass of the entire planet Earth, or the mass of the Sun, or the mass of the solar system, or the Milky Way, or the entire universe? Who has this kind of energy at their disposal? We certainly don't. And we are not even talking here about creation of matter. We are talking only about conversion, transformation of, or conversion of pre-existent energy into matter, not creation. So how on earth are we to prove the Big Bang or the creation out of nothing? Absolutely nothing. As I said in one of the previous presentations in this series, this is a matter of faith or religion, not science. When we talk about the origins, about the very beginning, about the creation of a Big Bang or what have you, we are not dealing with facts, evidence, lab experiments, eyewitnesses. We don't have any of that. The only thing we have is theory, if we speak from a scientific perspective, or faith, if we speak from a religious perspective. But just as the matter and energy are the two sides of the same coin, so are the theory and faith two sides of the same coin. These are also the same phenomena. They both come under the realm of belief, not science and evidence. We cannot prove the creation or origins. We can only believe it. It's a matter of faith or belief for both religious people and scientists. All talk about the creation and origins comes under the category of religion rather than the category of science, because it is not observable, nor testable, nor verifiable. The present is observable, so we can test, experiment, and prove and disprove. But the time, when there was no time, now this is beyond us. Why do I say time when there was no time? Well, Einstein also incorporated space and time with matter and energy into the equation of the universe when he upgraded the older Newtonian perspective on the universe given to us by Isaac Newton. And the way he explained it is that time and space are interwoven, and matter and energy, they're all interacting with each other. It's all mixed together. It's all one, comes from the same thing. It's all, you cannot separate it. So before the creation, there was no time either. And in the equation E equals mc squared, we looked at matter and energy. But what about the c? It is the constant, or the speed of light, or more correctly, the speed of energy. And the idea of speed presumes the idea of time. There is no speed without time. And it also presumes the idea of space. Speed presumes travel, velocity, through space and time. There is no speed without time and space. So Einstein upgraded the Newtonian universe by adding time and space into its equation to explain gravity. So how do you explain the beginning that had no matter, no energy, no space, and no time? How do you prove it when we are all locked into it? We are all imprisoned into matter, energy, space, and time. We cannot free ourselves from it all, move away from it all, to gain a different perspective. The only way to have this different perspective and understand and explain the creation, the origins, the cosmogony, would be to exist, or rather pre-exist, outside of matter, energy, space, and time. In this case, you would have to be greater than the universe, superior to the universe, independent from the universe. You would have to be the ultimate reality, because you would exist before the universe existed, so you can observe its creation. You would exist even if the universe never came to be, even if the universe doesn't exist. And this scenario reminds very much of the Genesis creation account that begins with the Creator. In the beginning, God. You and I do not have to exist. We are not necessary. Life on earth does not have to exist. The universe does not have to exist. None of these are necessities. This universe is not a necessity, and nothing in it is a necessity. And if it is not a necessity, we have two options: chance or choice. Chance means that something came out of nothing for no reason whatsoever. This is a religion that requires a lot of faith. Choice means that someone freely chose to create the universe and life in it. Not out of necessity, but freely, out of choice, through desire and will, idea, design, and plan. This is the Genesis account of creation.